Android Wear, if you haven't come across it before, it's almost certainly going to be massive. It started off just on smartwatches, and that's where we are at the moment, but it's likely to go to all sorts of wearable devices, and who knows what sort of devices we're going to be using in a few years' time. So it's well worth getting to grips with. Here I'm just going to show you the very basics of Android Wear and how you can start to learn how to develop apps for it, but it's almost certainly going to become just part of our lives in the same way that Android itself has. So the first step is to go over to Android Studio and create a new Android Wear device. So to do that, we go to Tools and then Android and then AVD Manager. So Android Virtual Device. Here's the devices that you're probably very used to working with, and we want to create a new one. And this is going to be a Wear device. Doesn't really matter which one you choose. I'm going to choose the slightly higher resolution one. There are various custom options you can select if you want to, but I'll just stick to the default for now. These are the available SDKs at the time of recording this video, so I'm just going to go for the latest version at the top there. Then, as we've seen before, that will then download and install straight away. While that's downloading, I'm going to create a new project, which is going to be an Android Wear demo. And of course, this time, instead of phone and tablet, we're going to be going for Android Wear. And it doesn't really matter. I'll go for API 21 there. And then next. And we're going to go for a blank Wear activity. Oh, just to pay a bit more attention to these. This is an always on one, so one that's always showing on the device screen. This is a notification, and this is a watch face if you want to create those. So most custom apps are going to be starting from a blank Wear activity. So next, and then finish. That will then build that. And here we go. So let's have a look at our project. And we'll see that it's looking pretty similar to what we're used to. We've got all the main options, some slightly unfamiliar code in the main activity.java file, but you can probably imagine what most of that does. We'll look at it in much more detail in the next video. And if we have a look in our activity mains, you can see we've got our view here. Unfortunately, it's on a phone rather than a fancy watch, but we've got our main view and then our rectangular view and our round view. So at the moment, they all look the same. Now the round view is actually centered, but you get the idea. Again, we'll look at how those interact with each other in much more detail in the future videos. But for now, let's just have a quick look and see what the default Android Wear app looks like on the simulator. And here we go. You can see the Android Wear device is now in our emulator list. So let's run that and take a look. So you can see that's now setting up very nicely. And here we go. You can see we've got the watch screen there. Now if I swipe up, try that again. We're now going through all the details. And I think, as you may have found with the phone emulator, often if you run the app and then it starts up, you then need to run the app again when it's actually completed starting up. And there we go. There's our Hello Round World app up and running on the Android Wear emulator. So obviously that's just the beginning. We'll go on and look at some of the more specific Android Wear features in the next few videos.